goth music in California's Central Valley. I myself live in sort of ass crack between Bakersfield and Fresno, and around these parts, only the past couple years has the scene really started to blossom. Shout out Club Spellbound and Distorted Presents. But before then, things were pretty sort of slim pickings. But digging into the history, there have been at least a couple notable bands who made their mark on goth history. First up, in the early 1980s, of course, in California, there emerged the death rock scene, which was, a sound that hewed pretty close to the punk roots of gothic rock, mainly sort of Los Angeles area bands like Christian Death, Voodoo Church, 45 Grave. There's also Bakersfield's own Burning Image, one of the best bands of the scene, only around for a few years, formed in 1982. But they also reformed later in the 2000s and released several new albums, including an album that was released on Alternative Tentacles, Jello Biafra of Dead Kennedys record label. Moving on to the early 90s, in 1991, from Fresno, The Shroud formed, more towards the slightly more ethereal side of gothic rock. They have a much larger discography to dive into than Burning Image, but tons of great stuff in there. They shared the stage with pretty major bands like Lycia and Switchblade Symphony. And they were on like a bunch of those Cleopatra records, like tribute compilations to Sisters of Mercy and Bauhaus and all that. Like, they have a cover of Passion of Lovers by Bauhaus, which is pretty cool. But also a side note, I think one of the members was also in Supreme Love Gods, which was another Fresno band from the 90s, who had more of like that Manchester baggy sound, Stone Roses, Happy Mondays and that stuff, but like a band from Fresno doing that, so it's pretty fun, worth checking out. Thanks for watching. Let me know if there's any notable band that I forgot about.